everyone, Digital David here. Today in this video, I'm excited to be checking out the Dreametech. This is the Dreamebot D10s Plus. I did receive this sample directly from Dreametech, but any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this product or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Take a look at the retail box and packaging right here, going over some of the key features. This is a 2-in-1 combo unit with vacuum and mopping capabilities, long runtime. They advertise up to 280 minutes. We have our smart app controls for iOS and Android devices, voice assistant, 65-day capacity for hands-free cleaning with the self-empty base, 5,000 PA super strong suction, advanced sensors for navigation, 5,200 milliamp hour battery. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and look at the contents. Looking for a secure and reliable way to access the internet? Look no further than ExpressVPN. Protect your personal information and browsing history from prying eyes. Act now and sign up for ExpressVPN today using our link in the description and receive an extra 3 months of service for free. Here are all the contents. First up, we have our product literature with warranty information. This does feature a 2-year warranty. We have a quick start guide, 5 simple steps to get everything set up with their customer service and contact information on there if you need some help and support. We also have a more thorough user guide and manual going over everything about our RoboVac, how to set up, how to use it, how to properly maintain and clean it. Even a nice troubleshooting section there. We also have some tech specs if you're interested to see those tech specs. And then everything repeats in multiple languages. Fun fact, it takes around 6 hours to charge this vacuum up. Next, you'll see a side cleaning brush right here. We have our mopping pad water tank module, our power cord for the charging and self-empty base, vacuum bag for the self-empty base, the self-empty base right here. If we open it up, it also has a nice vacuum bag already installed. And then lastly, we have the vacuum itself. Let's go ahead, let's look at this in more detail. This is a great looking vacuum. I love the gray color we have here. Up at the top, you'll see our LiDAR navigation module, 3 control buttons. We can pop open this flap to reveal our dust bin. We can pull that out, take a look at the filter. We'll look at it from all different sides and angles. We have this little lever here to release it, to easily manually empty and dump as needed or to clean out. We have filter cleaning instructions right on there. Here's a look inside with the filter removed. You'll also see a QR code to set up your vacuum and a reset button and Wi-Fi indicator light. This just snaps right back in place. We have our multi-cleaning tool and brush here for tangles. Now let's look at the side of this vacuum. We need to remove these before use, so we can just gently pop those out, one on each side here, and that's going to be for our navigational bumper. You'll see our additional AI action sensor on the front. Look at that camera module in there. Pretty cool. Let's move right around to the back side. You'll see we have some exhaust and ventilation right here. Now we'll flip it over to the very bottom. You'll see we have our cliff sensors. We have where our side cleaning brush is going to be installed. Spring-loaded drive wheels, omnidirectional wheel charging contacts. Here's our main brush roller. This is great because it's all rubber. There's no actual bristle brushes. So I'll be excited to see how that cleans for us. Then we have our self-emptying option right here. You'll see how the air will flow through there to suck the contents out. And then this is where our mopping pad and module and water tank is going to be attached. Now let's go ahead, before we get this charged up, let's look at that self-empty base. As shown earlier, the charging base is easily accessible from the top to replace your dust bags as needed. Go ahead, pull the old one out, and then you can just drop a new one in, and then you can shut the lid. They even have included instructions on the top if you forget or you're uncertain about how to install or do anything. Moving right along, we'll look at the front of the base. We have the Dreamy logo and branding and indicator light here, additional sensors to communicate with the vacuum, charging contacts. Here's the self-empty channel right here to suck the contents out. We have some grip and traction for the vacuum to drive up on here to empty and to recharge. Side profile, other side profile. We'll look at the very back here. I love this design where the power cord plugs in further into the unit and built-in cable management. So if we need any extra cable, we can just go ahead and wrap it up there. And then you'll see on the very bottom, this is clutch. We have 5 Phillips head screws. So if we ever see in this window a clog, we can easily address it, remove this, and clean that channel as needed. So I love when they do this. Makes maintenance a lot easier. If you have a lot of pet hair, things like that, you might encounter a clog every once in a while, but it is fixable right here, and nothing's proprietary or anything like that. We have some additional information on this particular model, and you'll see all of the grip feet that we have. We have 6 nice grip feet on the bottom to keep this in place. All right, the vacuum's plugged in and charging. We have everything set up and configured how we want it. We have the side cleaning brush attached, the mopping module on. You can fill the tank up with water. Now let's go ahead, let's start cleaning. So we finished our first clean. Here's a look at the results. So let's grab the dustbin out of here. Take note too, once we remove it, we'll look at the inside of the vacuum. So we do have some dust building up here, as you would expect, right around where it connects to our dustbin. But not bad. I do notice a little piece of pet hair here. But in regards to the contents inside the dustbin, this is where it gets gross and disgusting. Yeah. Look at everything you see in here. Let's try to open it up without dumping it everywhere. I'm spilling it out the bottom side. So, jam-packed, full. We got pet hair, dirt, dust, debris. We have a dog and 2 kids. So this is real-world testing, what you can expect in your house. So gross. I'm making a mess. You see the crumbs and stuff falling out the other side. If we can try to zoom in on that, maybe you can get a feel. It's not just the heavy hair. I see glitter in there. I see some trash and debris, sticks, dirt, food crumbs, lots of food crumbs, but really fine dirt and dust as well. So you'll notice maybe in the filter, I mean, look at the fine dust it's trapping in there. And there's like our mesh pre-filter screen. So it's not just the larger items it's able to pick up. It's also that really fine dirt and dust, especially if it's embedded in your carpets and rugs. That's always great to see that there. Let's blow that off, and let's look at the backside. Here's our mopping pad and module. You want to get this wet, and you'll want to clean it down right away. But in our case, I wanted to show you the results. Maybe you can tell we have a slight discoloration on here, not just from it being wet, but I see lots of pieces of debris in here that got collected while it was mopping. So you want to be sure to clean this, and it will get some dirt off your floors. I like to equate it to a damp paper towel. That's really what this is equivalent to. It's just gonna go over your floors gently and kind of equivalent to just wiping it with a cloth or a paper towel. Better than nothing, but it's not going to replace you having to maybe use a wet dry vac or some elbow grease to get some of those hard or stubborn stains on your floor. And the main brush roller itself, this looks great. I see a couple of pieces of hair down here, but nothing tangled. Well, we got one little ball there that we can pull out, but nothing really tangled. Again, a lot of human hair, a lot of pet hair, dog hair. This can be way worse even after just one pass. I don't see any of my shag rug carpet fibers. That's always nice. Typically with the Dreamy bristle brushes, or any bristle brush, RoboVac for that matter, it gets those threads tangled, but since this is just that rubberized brush, we're not seeing as much tangles and snags down here. So that's great. With our first clean out of the way, I wanted to show you the Dreamy Home app. This is a free app available for iOS and Android devices. So it takes about 5 minutes to set up the quick mapping run. It did a great job. Then we came back through and we set it on its first cleaning mission to both clean and mop. These are the results on the screen right here. So we'll zoom in. You see its path everywhere that it cleaned, different obstacles it identified. We have not edited this map in any way yet, so it identified everything as basically the living room. So we can browse by room, so we'd have to adjust that. All or different zones if we want to set up a cleaning zone. If you want to do the zone, you see the options you have there. Let's go over our cleaning modes. We have vacuum or mopping, right? So you have a couple different options there, or just mopping, or if we took the mop pad off, just vacuuming. We have 4 different suction settings, 3 different dampness settings for the mop pad, customize cleaning, and we can choose our cleaning sequence, all done within the app there. We have our self-cleaning settings here, so we can adjust the frequency, and we can initiate an auto empty. And then down here we have our map option. This is where we can edit our map. We have our editing features and our display. Do you want to show obstacles, room name, cleaning preferences? Do you want to rotate the map? So here we also have a 3D layout. This is cool. If you really want to tweak your settings, you can edit this. You can adjust walls. You can adjust decorations. You could really like map out your whole house. But let's go back in. We're going to set up really quickly a no-go zone. So for us, I know I want this no-go zone right here. Perfect. We're going to save that, and you'll see it updates on the map. Let's go back in. Maybe we want a virtual wall. You could do that. Or a no mop zone. I know we got a rug over here, so I could put that up. Perfect. Everything's just how I want it. Obviously, the big play button in the middle, that would activate a clean for us. And we have our return to dock in the bottom right-hand corner. Another feature I wanted to show you within the app happens while you're cleaning. So I paused to clean right here, and it's still on our map. We have the AI object detection. So you'll see right here with this little shoe icon, this is pretty sweet. So we can select it and it says shoes 77%. So this is the confidence rating that the vacuum has correctly identified a certain object. In this case, it did a great job. Those are my shoes and my feet right there. I do wish though on the screen we have feedback, but there's nothing to give it positive reinforcement to train it like, yes, that's correct, use that image. You'll see that again in the future. So I wish we had that. You'll see we also have a power cord right here, 94% for wires. That was also correct. You could argue there's shoes in there too. So interesting that it didn't identify both, but it picked the wires, and that's great. So we can ignore or send feedback, but nothing to give it positive reinforcement. But I love the AI option right in the map. You can see those obstacles in real time. Let's jump into the nitty-gritty details and go over some of the specs of our Dreamy D10s Plus. So we're going to compare this vacuum not only within Dreamy's lineup and how it ranks, but also compared to the 30 plus vacuums we've had the privilege of reviewing. So first up, you'll see we have our max suction power. This has a 5,000 PA max suction power. That's above average within Dreamy's own lineup. So about 700 PAs above average, and substantially higher within the average across all the RoboVacs that we've ever reviewed. Max CFM follows a similar pattern here. You'll see our score of 9.5. That's on par with the brand average overall of 9.3, but substantially higher and above average than the average of all units tested. Now, typically those first 2 measurements are a good indicator of our deep cleaning test results, but it's not always the end-all be-all. But in this case, you see, we got a score of 90, so slightly below average for the Dreamy brand of 95, but again, still above average. Some of this can just be within our margin of error, but it would be what you have come to expect if you've already used a Dreamy device. You'll get very similar results here, at least with our deep clean test, where we embed coffee grounds into carpet and see what it's able to actually pick back up. In regards to decibels, how loud this vacuum is, lower is better. In our case, no noticeable difference between any other Dreamy vacuums, and for that matter, any of the units tested. They're all within range. Most people won't be able to tell well in a home environment if it's 68 decibels or 73 or 71 or any measurement like that. So I'd say nothing noticeable in regards to its loudness. It's what you would expect for a RoboVac. It's not exceptionally quiet or exceptionally loud. Now, battery life, this is off the charts here. 280 minutes of runtime. That's almost 100 minutes higher than the brand average and substantially higher than all tested. Now, I will argue with this metric, it's still fairly a moot point because most vacuums, especially in this price point and range, are smart enough to go back home, recharge, and resume cleaning. But for some of you out there, maybe you have a really large area, you want to get it done right away for whatever reason, then you'll appreciate the extended runtime with this vacuum. But results will vary, and keep in mind, suction settings play a part in this too. Now, giving us that incredible runtime is the large battery capacity that's always found on Dreamy devices. They never make any compromises here. So 5,200 milliamp hours is the battery capacity. It's technically below brand, but all Dreamy RoboVacs usually have the 5,200 milliamp hour battery. This is skewed higher because we have one unit. I believe it's mostly a mop. I think it's the W10 that has like a 6,000 or 7,000, something incredibly large that skews this data point up. But again, they're not making compromises. You get what you pay for. Compared to all tested, we're almost 2,000 milliamps extra within our Dreamy batteries. Height is also average 3.8. That's typically what we find in the form factor for RoboVacs that have the LiDAR navigation module up top. Our SKU is a little bit lower because we review a lot of iRobot Roombas, and those don't have this module, so they tend to be a little bit shorter. We've also covered a couple from Anchor, from the Eufy brand, that are slimmer and thinner, designed to go under furniture that some of these vacuums aren't able to do. Bin capacity is exceptionally large with 570 milliliters for this vacuum. That's above average for the brand overall and compared to all the devices that we've tested, but that number includes some that are or aren't self-emptying. Typically you find that self-emptying vacuums have a smaller capacity dustbin, but this particular model is flipping that on its head, and it's actually giving us a larger dustbin. Water tank capacity is also on the larger size. This is great, especially because Dreamy overall averages less than the competition, and in my opinion, you want to have this be on the larger side so you can use the wettest setting to get the best clean possible. You don't want it to have to run out and then just basically have a dry mop going around your floor. So it's great to see that they've increased the water tank capacity. Hopefully that continues with further models. Lastly, let's talk about cost. Now, this vacuum is uniquely positioned as a perfect guidepost to know when you're shopping out there what value can you expect. You can always come back to this vacuum to see if something lower is a better deal or if something higher makes more sense for you and your budget, depending on the features that you're after. So it's almost dead center in the average of all units that we've tested, and it's a smidge higher than some of Dreamy's other units, but that's because they have a couple models that we've tested that don't have a self-emptying base, and that typically increases the price point. But anyways, you maybe can start to see that at this price point, you should expect LiDAR navigation, multi-level mapping, mopping and vacuuming, a self-empty base, a really nice smart app that works with iOS and Android devices. But what you might not see from a lot of the competition is that advanced AI with our front-facing camera to help avoid obstacles, but it also gives you the ability to use it as a home security device to monitor your house while you're away from home, or maybe you're in a different room. You want to take some quick photos, videos, get a live preview. That starts to increase the value of this particular model versus a lot of other vacuums on the market today that would be well within the same price range. Let me share with you my final thoughts. When you're buying a RoboVac, you're trading your money for your time, right? You're buying back your time by not having to focus on chores, cleaning, things you don't want to do. So when you're looking for one, make sure if you can afford it to get one with the self-empty base. That just furthers your cause and saves you more time. Now you're emptying a bag every 2-3 months out of a unit versus every day that it runs, you have to empty the bin into your trash can. So that's a great trade-off there, definitely worthwhile. Second one along those lines is if you're buying a vacuum to clean your house, you actually want it to know where it is and to get the best clean possible. So that's great to have LiDAR navigation to help you achieve those goals. With this particular monitor, I love that we're seeing some high-end features trickle down to units like this with that AI action camera. So this takes it from just a 2-in-1 vacuum and mopping device now to a 3-in-1 device where it can be used as a home security camera, right? So maybe you hear noise downstairs, you don't want to get out of bed, you can now fire up your phone and just drive around the house with the vacuum. Maybe you're at work, you want to check in on your pets, make sure the dog's not on the couch, the cat didn't get out, things like that. Now you can drive around your house without actually being there, kind of giving you the ability to teleport, right? So love having a camera on wheels. Sure, there's some privacy concerns there.
Why are we so mad today? Because we want our privacy.
But they do give you the PIN code in the app to make sure that you're who you are to get access to the camera, and you'll hear noise when the camera is actually, operating. And don't forget, the vacuum will be moving around your house too, so that should be pretty obvious for you there, but just something to keep in mind. But I really like this unit and everything that we have. Lastly, I want to point out with this particular sample model, I am working with the Dreamy team to see if there's something wrong with my unit, because I noticed that the front bumper sometimes shows an error, and it appears that maybe it just doesn't depress as much as it should. So maybe if it comes up to an object, it kind of stays in and it trips the sensor and it thinks that there's an object in the way. So I'm still working through that, but overall, I really like this vacuum. I've been using Dreamy products for years, so while I do have an issue with this particular sample device, I have not had an issue with any of the devices in the past, and I've run them for years in my house as my primary vacuum, so I can speak to their quality and longevity, but wanted to point that out for full transparency.